Welcome back to Bite Size Theatre with JTP. If it's your first time here, my name is Tony Domaille, and if you love short comedy, drama and chats about theatre, then you're in the right place. We have a growing following, and all this often award-winning content is free. So please like, subscribe and leave us a positive review to help us share this work further. But we don't just podcast. You can find JTP Theatre on stage at festivals, performing in short plays and in all kinds of places, delivering on local radio as well. And this week, JTP Theatre brings you the multi-award winning drama Even Numbers, written by Tony Domaille and published by Lazyby Scripts, featuring Sarah Wiggins, Phil Domaille and Sarah Cully Morgan. Mary Ann has killed 5 people, but is she insane or just evil?
Like to sit down, Mary Ann?
No.
You're agitated.
Oh, shit, Sherlock. You're the psychiatrist. Why would that be then?
People have to ask questions. It's my job to make an assessment so that questions can be answered. Think of it as process rather than personal.
That's bullshit.
Come and sit down.
Do you like this office?
Suits my purpose.
You should have another plant. It would be better with 2. Don't you think it would be better with 2?
I'll give it some thought.
You know that I'm not, don't you?
What are you not, Mary Ann?
Insane. I'm not bloody insane. Do I look insane to you?
You look as if you need to take some deep breaths. Come and talk to me.
What about? It's all been said.
Not to me, Mary Ann. I need to hear your story. I need to know what you were thinking then and what you're thinking now. I need to be able to make my assessment, and then I can tell people what they need to know.
They've already decided. They think I'd have to be insane to do what I've done. Christ. I think the detective who interviewed me was afraid of me. Probably thought I might suddenly leap over the table and try and eat his liver.
He's doing his job, not an easy one.
And my solicitor, that woman barrister they've sent to defend me, they think I'm crazy.
Why'd you say that?
I can see it in their eyes. But most of all, in the way they speak to me. As if they're talking to a child. Even if I was insane, I'd still be a grown woman, wouldn't I?
I don't think anyone questions your maturity, Mary Ann.
Just my sanity. And so now I have to talk to you. But I'm not mad, Doctor. I knew exactly what I was doing, even if none of you understand.
It's my job to understand, but I can only do that if you talk to me.
I don't even know why I'm here!
Mary Ann, I can see why you might feel upset at the suggestion that people don't understand what you've done, but let's not pretend you don't understand why you're here. You've been charged with murder.
I have. Haven't I?
I want you to talk to me about that.
Have you talked to many people who have killed?
Some.
I can tell you I'm not like them.
How do you know?
I just do. I mean, we never see firsthand what happened or know what was in people's minds, but there's the TV reports, the papers, the internet, sometimes whole documentaries.
And does that mean we know, really know, the killers?
Enough for me to know I'm not like them.
And it's your opportunity to show me who you are, Mary Ann. Let me see how different you are. Let's talk about Samantha Ward.
What about her?
And the police and Crown say you killed her.
Well, I've never denied it.
Then tell me what happened. Tell me the how and the why. Tell me everything.
I don't know how many times I have to tell people. Didn't mean to kill her. I honestly thought I'd researched well enough to make sure she was only very sick. And no one was more surprised than me when she died. But that's how it was. My plan was to enjoy her comeuppance by watching her vomiting. She'd been fooling around with other women's husbands, and I decided that there was a price to pay. But she didn't vomit. She just sank to her knees, making weird noises. Then she started struggling for breath and complaining she couldn't swallow.
You say you didn't mean to kill her.
I didn't.
You poisoned her.
What can I say? I got the dosage wrong.
Did you think about trying to save her when it started to go differently to how you imagined?
That really would make me insane, wouldn't it? What emergency service? Police and ambulance, please. I think I've overdone the poison on someone I was trying to teach a lesson. No. Even if I'd wanted to, there wasn't time. I saw that desperate look in her eyes, and she was dead on the floor in front of me.
How did you feel?
For a moment, I genuinely regretted it. I mean, if you mess around with other women's husbands, you really ought to expect something back. But if every little slut's got a death sentence, there might be a shortage of single ladies, don't you think? And she hadn't messed around with my husband. I don't have one. But in the end, I decided she deserved it. For all the upset she'd caused to the others, our friends at work.
Marianne, did you do what you did for your friends or for yourself?
Oh, that's such a good question. I was just about to say for them, but no. No, it was for me. I wanted to punish her. There's nothing crazy about that, is there? Who hasn't wanted to punish someone who does so much wrong?
Let me ask you a very basic question.
Are you going to ask me if I know right from wrong?
And if I did?
I do know we're not supposed to go around killing people. Actually, I never knew it was against common law until I was charged. I suppose I always thought there was a murder act or something. But yes, Doctor, I know thou shalt not kill. Samantha was just supposed to get sick and never realise I'd punished her. But she went and died when she wasn't supposed to, and I knew right away I'd have to kill again. What could I do? She was dead, and it was obvious the police would be looking for someone with a connection to her. Someone with an axe to grind, or, in my case, a poison to use. So I had no choice. I had to kill someone else.
Good morning, Doctor.
Ella, how did you get in here?
Your lovely secretary has a penchant for chocolate. Oh, an endearing naivety, because she believed me when I said you'd asked me to drop by.
Barristers, so engaged in a search for the truth and so hopelessly bad at exercising it themselves.
Mine is a noble profession. Here, I brought us coffee because you never offer any.
It's too early.
For coffee? God, no. At least 4 before I go into court. I have to keep the brain wired. Defending the accused requires fuel, and sadly vodka is frowned upon.
It's too early for me to give you what you want.
Oh, come on, Doc. I know you've had a session with her. We're paying for it.
We haven't talked about the first killing yet.
Most people stop at 1. So, is she mad as a box of frogs, or are we dealing with a Myra?
I think you'll find Myra Hindley was a patient at Broadmoor, so she was not an either-or case. And by the way, box of frogs is not a term you're likely to see in my assessment of Marianne Toomey when it comes.
Which will be when?
When it's ready.
I have to defend this case, Doctor, so I need something to work with. There are multiple victims. That means multiple emotional casualties. Their families, friends. There's a lot of people looking for justice in this one, and I have to get it for my client.
Hello, we both know that your overriding priority will be the protection and furtherance of your career at the bar. You were numbed to the feelings of others and wise to what is laughingly called justice in our courts a lifetime ago.
Your bedside manner could do with some work.
Thank you for the coffee.
Oh, my thaws. Look, just give me your first impressions. I won't hold you to them. Just give me something of an idea of where we might be heading.
I can't, not yet. I need more time with her. She hasn't talked about her past yet, and I could do with more background information.
People working on that. the moment she isn't proving too easy to research.
Why?
I think she might have changed her name at some point. Doesn't seem to have a history before her adult years.
Right, well, I'll try and fill the gaps. Now, if you don't mind, I have people with appointments who don't bribe my secretary or lie to her.
Call me.
How are you, Marianne?
Fine.
Today I'd like us to talk about your family.
No,
Why?
I don't want to.
It might be important.
It's irrelevant.
I'd like to know about them.
There's nothing to tell.
I need to understand your past so that I can understand who you are today.
I'm a killer. That's who I am.
It's my job to find out why you became a killer.
You think you'll find I was an abused child? That my parents starved me of love and affection?
Did they?
No. Neither did I pull the legs off spiders or torture the neighbour's cat before progressing to murder. If you think talking about my childhood is going to give you some insight into my being a killer, you're wasting your time. There's no catalyst. I'm not mad. I'm just bad.
Tell me about your parents.
They're in the
What's
past.
that mean?
They're not part of my life anymore. Maybe I'm just a shit daughter.
Tell me why you say that.
Told you, I don't want to talk about my family. I'm right, aren't I? That you can't make me talk about them. You can't hold me down and give me some drug, can you?
Of course not.
So let's talk about something
I'll have to
else.
talk about it sometime. All right, we'll move on. Last time we talked, you said that after accidentally killing Samantha, you had to kill someone else. Tell me why.
Wasn't it obvious? I had no choice. I had to kill someone else the same way I'd killed her. But it had to be someone I had no connection to so that the police would look elsewhere. So, a couple of days later, I picked up some bloke in a pub and then it was back to his for, well, let's just say our motives were not the same. Craig. I think that was his name. He stopped breathing even quicker than Samantha. And it did the trick. The police had two seemingly unconnected poisonings and they were looking in the wrong direction.
But you didn't stop there.
No, I should have. If I had, maybe the police would never have caught me.
Did you want to be caught?
Is that what the crazies do? Deliberately get caught? I've told you, I'm not mad. No, sadly, I'm just not as careful as I thought. Did you know that we are the most spied upon nation on earth? There is a CCTV camera for every 13 people. Think about that. We're whole lives being recorded when we're not looking. I suppose I should have thought I'd be captured on film. You imagine the boredom of watching hour upon hour of grainy video to catch a killer. You have to hand it to them.
Why did you kill again?
Mm-hmm.
Marianne?
This is one of those questions where I could seem crazy.
Why did you kill again?
People who obsessively clean. OCD, isn't it? I mean, they're not insane, are they?
No, it's a compulsion.
I have a compulsion.
You felt compelled to kill again.
Yes. No. I mean, killing isn't the compulsion. It's something else. You see, I've always had this thing about odd numbers. I hate them. I really hate them. So if there is an odd number of anything, I just feel compelled to even things up.
How? How do you even things up?
Mostly it's easy. I want a new blue coat. But I can't have one blue coat, it must be two. I can't have one cut glass vase, there must be a pair. I've always been like that about objects, possessions. But once the killing started...
Go on.
Okay, I'll tell you something I didn't tell the detective who arrested me. I didn't think he'd understand.
What might he not understand?
Killing Samantha was an accident. You get that, don't you? But killing Craig was necessary. Even now, but I can never even up the number of accidental killings. By definition, I couldn't arrange to accidentally kill again. But I could even up the number of deliberate killings. From 1 to 2. So after Craig, I had to kill someone else.
You're saying you killed again to make an even number?
Yes.
That's why you killed a third person, Stephanie Elliott.
I had to.
Well, you didn't have to, did you? People are not coached.
I know that! Of course I know that! You see, before I could even think, Stephanie had just dropped into my lap as a victim. Like it was meant to be. I was in the library and she just presented as the obvious choice. She ran my books through her scanner and smiled at me, and I saw she had odd-coloured eyes. One brown, one grey. Can you imagine how she could go through life with different coloured eyes? How could she smile so easily when her world was so wrong, so uneven? I know it wasn't her fault, but I did have to kill someone, and killing her just seemed to be evening things up. That it was really easy. I simply hung around outside the library and then followed her to a cafe when she went for lunch. And I did the whole, "Oh, you're the lady from the library" thing. Distracted her, laced her coffee, and then left her to die at the table.
This compulsion you feel over making things even. Tell me what that feels like.
Like I have to do it. Like there's no choice. The compulsion is very strong, and if I'm honest, it can be very expensive. Come to my flat, I have 2 of everything.
Do you see a difference between possessions and people?
I see where you're going with this. I'm not saying killing them was right or reasonable or even morally defensible. Only that I had to do it.
So is that why you killed again after that?
You must see why.
Tell me.
Dr. Vincent, I expected so much better from you. I knew there was no point in trying to explain to the stupid detective, but you...
Tell me.
All right. Once Craig and Stephanie were dead, I realised that they were an even number of people. But it was one man and one woman. That's odd numbers. Surely it's not too much to grasp that I had to kill again. I had to kill another man and another woman to make the genders even.
You had to.
I tried to do it as humanely as possible. I chose people who really needed to die.
Why did they need to die?
I saw a newspaper article about elderly people being lonely. It said Iris Hope was 90 and she would often see no one for days on end, only someone popping in for 20 minutes in the morning to help her up from bed. So when I called on Iris one afternoon and told her I was extra care, she was delighted. She was very happy for me to make a pot of tea and have a chat. She loved the cake I brought, so she died happier than she might have been.
Could you have stopped? Did you think about stopping?
The next day, I found a homeless guy at the railway arches, and I gave him a pizza. Do you know, cold and dirty as he was, he visibly brightened as he tucked into my gift of a meal. Then he found he couldn't swallow. I only just had time to tell him I was sending him to a better place before he stopped breathing. I never got his name. The numbers have to be even. Always even.
How do you feel about the killings, Marianne?
Do you want me to say I'm upset? Well, the truth is, after killing Iris and the homeless guy, I did get upset because only one of them was black. I really wanted to kill someone else to even up the ethnic number, but it would have put me back on odd numbers overall, and you see where this is going.
Where would it have ended?
I like talking to you. I like trying to read you. But you have a poker face. The detective's face gave away all his feelings. I could see disgust mixed with fascination when I confessed. The thing he never looked was grateful. Don't you think he ought to have been grateful to have all those murders solved? He really ought to have been grateful that they caught me when they did, because I don't know where it would have ended.
How do you feel about what you've done?
How do I feel? Irritated that I let them catch me. They're going to lock me away for a long time, aren't they?
How are you finding life on remand?
It's really not so bad. I know it'll be different when I'm sentenced, but I think I'm going to like prison. It's given me 2 of everything. 2 pairs of trousers, 2 shirts, 2 of each of the toiletries. When the warden handed me only 1 toothbrush, I asked her if I could have 2, and she just shrugged and gave me another. They think no one should have to share a cell with me. So that means there's 2 of everything there as well. Even numbers.
Even numbers.
You still only have 1 plant. I thought you agreed it would be better if there were 2.
I said I'd give it some thought.
I don't know why you think it would be okay, just the 1 odd plant.
Many of us get by with just 1 plant, 1 coat, 1 of anything. Why do you think it bothers you so much?
Don't make me explain again, Doctor.
Okay, let's talk about something else. Tell me why no one can find any information from your childhood.
There's nothing to know.
There's always something to know, Marianne. The child is the foundation of the adult. All we have is information about the adult here.
Why is there a file? Why are people snooping about me? I told the police I did it. I've told you I did it. And why you have no right to be poking around in my past. It has nothing to do with what I've done.
You were a child once.
Enough.
Have or had parents.
I told you I wouldn't talk about my family.
Siblings.
Do you have a panic button in here?
I have to know all about you to understand you. People don't shy away from their childhood unless...
That's what I abused, neglected. I poisoned all these people, and you're not sure if I'm mad or bad. So we keep talking and talking, but because I won't talk about my family, I'm insane. Is that it?
I said you're insane, Marianne. I haven't said it means anything. I only asked you why.
I know what you're trying to do. You're going to make out that I'm insane because of something about my childhood.
Only asking questions.
What would it take for someone to come if you had to press your panic button?
You're planning on killing me, Marianne. Wouldn't that make the numbers uneven? Assistance required!
So, what have we got, Doc?
Among the potentials, I've explored the possibility of a dissociative identity disorder.
I may have gone to Cambridge, but plain English would help.
It's a disconnection between thoughts, memories, actions, identity. People with dissociative disorders escape reality in ways that cause problems with functioning in everyday life.
And do you think Marianne has this disorder?
I've considered it. One symptom would be a detachment from emotions, and she shows no sign of emotion around her killings, but then I have seen her become emotional about other things.
Yes. I heard you had to be rescued.
Not exactly rescued. She became agitated and threatening, so she had to be removed. She becomes evasive and aggressive over any questions about her family.
I feel much the same after Christmas with mine.
If there was some past trauma connected to her family, that can be a trigger for some mental health issues.
You'll have to do better than that. You know I can't defend her on the basis she had a shit childhood, don't you? It's not a defence.
Of course I know. I just wish we knew more about her. The file you gave me pretty much shows someone with no past.
I've had good people on it, but she seems to have materialised a decade ago. No records before that.
Was she hiding?
I don't know. But in the end, it's not our problem, unless it undermines her defence.
We don't know her past. How can we be sure she hasn't killed before?
I don't need more victims, Doctor. I need evidence to say she's not responsible for her actions. My job is to give her the best defence representation she can get. So, am I defending her as someone with a mental disorder? Well, Red Top's going to be calling her evil incarnate. Where are we, Doc?
In layman's terms, dissociative identity disorder comes in three forms. Amnesia. There's no sign of that with Marianne. She remembers the detail of her crimes very well. Then there's identity disorder, what you might have heard called a split personality, but again, no sign of that. And then there's derealization. Simply put, the sufferer feels as if the world around them is unreal. There's no doubt she shows an emotional detachment from what she's done, but she clearly sees the reality and other symptoms just aren't there. I think we're dealing with a woman who can take a life without blinking, but not someone who is criminally insane.
Oh, come on! So that even number stuff, that is batshit crazy.
There's a fundamental difference between what people see as abnormal behaviour and a mental disorder.
She is going to be convicted. She's admitted to poisoning people at random.
It's not random to her.
She'll go to prison for a very long time.
I know.
But if she were unwell...
She's not.
There's nothing that can stop her being convicted. But the outcome can be better.
What exactly are you saying?
She may never be released from prison, but if she were in a secure hospital, had treatment, then she might not be detained forever.
She doesn't need treatment.
It's not too late. We can still turn this around.
What?
Oh, just think for a moment. Maybe she's been afraid to tell you that she hears voices. Voices that told her to do what she did. Maybe she's been depressed or anxious, felt so bad she couldn't think straight, couldn't remember things, or felt that there was someone else in her head and didn't know how to say.
I've told you those symptoms are not there.
If Marianne is unwell, she goes into a secure hospital instead of a prison.
She isn't unwell.
See her again.
I don't need to.
If she's insane, she's detained in a secure hospital, and you shrinks go to work on her. Somewhere down the line, she's cured, and she gets the chance to be free again.
What are you trying to do here?
Get the best outcome for my client.
And you think that's through me assessing her as criminally insane?
Well, we are paying you a lot of money.
You're paying me to conduct a professional assessment. If you think what you pay gives you the right to choose the outcome of that assessment, go find another doctor. If you can find one who'll dance to your tune. It's my report to the court, not yours. Doesn't give you the best chance of a boost to your career. That's just too bad.
Is that what you think? All I care about is how it goes for me. I have an obligation to defend that woman to the best of my ability and to get her the best outcome
And
available.
what if she's just evil? What if she actually deserves to be locked up and they throw away the key?
I can get a second opinion.
Be my guest. No doctor's going to tell you what you want to hear unless they ditch their moral compass in favour of the cash.
So your report is going to say that she's fit to stand trial, fit to plead, knows her own mind.
It is.
There's got to be something wrong with her. What person in their right mind goes around poisoning people just to even up numbers?
You can't reduce it all to what you or anyone else considers normal. Look, all mental disorders are behavioural disorders, but all behavioural disorders are not mental disorders. Marianne has an obsession with even numbers, and that leads to behaviour most would consider wildly out of step with the norm. But my professional opinion is she does not have a mental disorder.
Yes? Have you now? And what did you find out? What? And this is confirmed? Look, I'm with Dr. Vincent now. Email it to me right away. This is great work. Thanks.
What was that all about?
My people have found some information on our mutual client. Look at this.
What is it?
She has a past.
This is more than interesting.
So, what do you think? One more look at her before you complete your assessment.
Why am I here again? You said you were finished with me.
I did, but I have some new information.
What new information?
We all have a past, Marianne. Now I know something about yours.
Aren't you afraid I'll try to hurt you?
No.
What if they didn't come as quickly this time?
Take my chances.
I've told you, I won't talk about my
I
family.
still ask the questions.
What's in the file?
You go by two names, don't you? Mary and Anne.
It's one name.
It's not the one you were given, is it?
What's in the file?
Your birth certificate has your name recorded as Mary Harding. No middle name, no Anne. Tell me why you call yourself Mary Ann.
How did you find that?
Your barrister has very resourceful people working for her.
Told you I don't want people poking their noses into my past.
I asked you why you call yourself Mary Ann.
Because I like it. Because I can. Because one name isn't enough. One name is an odd number, and numbers have to be even.
Of course, even numbers. I know that's important to you, but why Mary Ann? Why not Mary Jane or Mary Bethel? Anything else?
It had to be Anne, okay?
Why?
It just did.
But why?
You know, don't you?
Do I?
Ah, bravo. Bravo. I suppose I should have known I couldn't keep my past from you forever. I suppose you're all very pleased with yourselves that you broke through my wall, but don't you think it's suffocating? Don't you think it's just wrong that people can't choose what they share?
We live in the information age.
Not so many years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would have been easy to erase my past and become Mary Ann Toomey, but now the internet knows everything. Enough clicks and your soul is on show.
Is that how you see this? Your soul on show?
Without all those cameras, they probably never have caught me. My face was captured on the street outside Samantha's house, in the pub where I found Craig, at the library, the cafe, everywhere. So that really detective work is cheating, isn't it?
They found you.
They did. Now they found out who I used to be.
Mary Harding, born 12th of February 1981 to Michael and Teresa Harding.
Impressive. I thought after so many years as Mary Ann Toomey I'd erased all that.
When did you last see your parents?
Oh, I think you know that, if you know who I was.
They gave you up to foster care.
Poor little Mary.
You were 8 years old.
Apparently I was a difficult child.
In what way?
Because I could cope, and they couldn't.
With what, Marianne? What could you cope with that they couldn't?
All of it! Christ! I still remember the endless crying and depression, the relentless talking about loss and how they missed her, when all the time...
All the time what?
I was 5, and they sat me down one day and took out a box of photos of a baby. I remember my father saying to me, "This is your sister, and she died before you were born." And then his face, when I laughed and I said, "Don't be silly, Daddy, that's a picture of me when I was called Anne." They said, "How did you know her name?" I said, "Because that used to be me." And then he hit me. He slapped my face. He told me I was an evil little girl and that Anne would never have been like me. My mother just sat there, crying, and nothing was ever the same again. They couldn't deal with me.
You went into foster care and never went home again. It must have been very difficult. You were very young.
No more difficult than living with them, in a perpetual state of mourning. In any case, when I was taken away, I didn't go alone.
What do you mean?
Come on, Doctor! You must have worked it out by now. I wasn't being an evil little girl when I said I used to be Anne. I was her. And then we were this.
What are you saying?
Anne died. But she never went away. She's always been here. And in here. And that's why there always has to be 2 of everything. One for me and one for Anne. That's why I changed my name as soon as I was able to. Mary Ann Toomey. To me. Do you see why I chose that name? Tell me you can see.
Is Anne here now?
Not listening to me, Doctor. I am Anne. I'm Mary, and I'm Anne. We're both here. We always were. Anne? Anne, are you there? What do you think of our new home? I tried so hard to get us into prison instead of hospital. You know I tried, don't you? Jeez. That judge was a sanctimonious bitch, wasn't she? I loved the way you copied her voice. You have shown no remorse for your repugnant crimes, and society must be protected. You always could make me smile.
I'm yours. Share with me.
Whatever was happening.
The 2 of us. Don't leave me alone. Give
When
me
you
what's
wish,
mine. Give me what's mine.
we
Do
could
it for
poison
me.
her.
Take me with you. Kill for me. Do it for
her
me. Help
rise.
me. Share with me. I'm yours. Take me with mine. Even
Oh no, I
share
tried.
with me.
Don't you, Anne?
Don't leave the 2 of us.
I tried to keep you hidden.
me with
They
you.
found you. I tried so hard to stop them, but they say we're insane and I don't know what I'm going to do to protect you.
I'm yours. Share with me.
I'm worried they'll drug me and that you'll leave me or
Give me what's mine.
not take you from me.
Give me what's mine. Do it for
I'll
me.
fight the man.
Share with Help me. Do it for
I'll
me.
keep
I'm
you
yours. Share
with
me.
me
You're mine. Kill for me.
forever.
Kill for me. Even numbers.
I've always made sure that there was 2 of everything so that we each had 1.
For me. Give me what's
Haven't I?
Share with me. Do it for me. Even numbers.
And you know I'll always do whatever you ask of me. I've killed for you, just like you asked me, and then I've killed for me. So you wouldn't feel alone. What? Of course I will. I'll do anything. If you want me to kill someone in here, I will. Of course I will. If you think about it, killing inside evens up killing outside, doesn't it? But you know, once we've killed 1 in here.
Hello, welcome to the JTP podcast, exploring even numbers, written by Tony Domaille. I'm John, and I'm lucky enough to have here 3 very important people, the original cast members of the multi-award-winning Even Numbers. Are we all? You okay?
All
Good, thank you very much.
Fantastic. We've also got the writer of Even Numbers here,
Hi,
Tony
John.
Domaille. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Fantastic. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to kick off with just a little bit of a roll call. All right. So just introducing yourselves to our audience, your name, as well as your character's name, please.
My name is Phil Domaille, and my character's name is Dr. Vincent.
I'm Sarah Wiggins, and my character's name is Mary Ann Toomey.
I'm Sarah Cully Morgan, and I played Ella Conway.
And I'm Tony Domaille, and I wrote this thing.
Fantastic. So really, really lovely to have you guys around the table as the originals. Definitely, it's amazing to speak to you about this. This is an award, or what would go on to be an award-winning play. Went on to win the Derek Jacobi Award, which we'll talk about a little bit in a moment, and the Geoffrey Whitworth Trophy. Really interested from your perspectives, the moment that you guys open the script, you lay eyes on it for the very first time. What were your impressions? What did you feel? Starting off with Phil.
My initial impression was this is a corker, and it's such an absorbing story with 3 3D characters, and it was impulsive reading, I would say, start to finish. And then I must have read it about 6 times in a row. So just intrigued by it.
Okay, thank you.
Really excited.
Really
It was really, really exciting script with 3 really interesting characters. And obviously, I was very excited to be offered the part of Marianne, who I haven't ever really played a role quite like that before. So, so I was really excited to get going and get my teeth stuck into it, really.
Thank you very much. Sarah?
Yeah, I think I echo what Phil and Sarah said. This is my first production with JTP, so it was really exciting to get to work on project. I've seen a lot of the other ones, and they're always really well written and really well put together. So when I read it and I saw how compelling it was, I was really excited to sink my teeth into it and really have a go at some good proper acting.
Thank you very much. Tony, you're the writer. Why? What was going through your head when you wrote this? Where's it from? What's it about?
Well, it started as a short story, actual fact. And I thought long and hard for quite some time about wanting to turn it into a one-act play. And then one day I saw a little news report on the internet about a little girl who was shown some pictures of, sadly, her deceased sister, who died before she was born, and that she had said what Marianne says to her father, that, oh, that's me when I was called. And at that point I thought, now I know I can put that to stage, now I can give Marianne a reason for these terrible things that she's doing. So yeah, I started with just a fairly silly idea about somebody being obsessed with numbers, and it just got darker and darker.
It did go dark, didn't it? Chilling, but a brilliant play, and rightly recognised for being a brilliant play. So, I mean, we'll talk about the run in a moment. We'll talk about the festival. We'll talk about all the amazing things that happened in relation to that. I mean, Tony, you get an email towards the back end of it telling you that you won the Derek Jacobi Award,
Yeah.
in relation to the script itself.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that award and what that represents.
Gosh, I mean, obviously a massive honour. Very, very happy to receive it. So there are festivals across the country every year, competition festivals. We had entered in Bristol and we'd entered in Avon. And should the adjudicator like what they see, they can nominate the play for that award. So it went forward nationally, and of course we were lucky enough to pick that one up.
Fantastic. And it's not the only award that's been part of this project, really. And what I'm looking at in terms of the performance here are three award winners in their own rights.
Yeah.
In relation to what came out of the festival itself. Each of you won an award. What award did you win? And how did you feel about that when you got that award? What did that feel like? What's it feel like to win an award? I don't know. Tell me about it.
Delighted.
Yeah.
I feel absolutely delighted to win the award. I won the Best Actor award. Delighted because you're being acknowledged for good work, and I don't think there's anything more thrilling than that. Then there's another layer to that. You reflect afterwards and you think, well, our rehearsal process, our preparation collectively must have been good. It's not just an individual award. Collectively, you're putting something together there as well. And the third point is that this is terrific for JTP. It means that from a publishing point of view, I would say I've searched through books and books of scripts before over the years, and I look for something with a substance, something with not necessarily an award winner, but you get where I'm coming from, something that turns your head and thinks, well, why would I put that play on? Why would I choose that play? So it's those three things, really. There's a personal delight, and then there's, more importantly to me, collectively, as a company, you've done something really well there because it's been recognised. And thirdly, it means we can move on and do other things as well because it's going to be published.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. In terms of the role itself, in terms of Dr. Vincent, what's the biggest challenge of that role?
There's a professionalism about him and a calmness about him, which means that I can't really go moving around on stage. So the biggest challenge to me was, and I shared this with Tony, as Tony was directing it, was that I had to look at the inflection and the projection and the pointing of those lines with very minimal physical movement. And yeah, that's quite a challenge to make sure that, I'm supporting Sarah with that. Obviously, they'll explain their roles there, but to be able to support them with that point, inflection, projection when you're not really moving, quite a challenge.
Fantastic, thank you. Sarah, Best Actress Award.
Yeah.
What does that feel? It's not the first, it should be said. It's one of many. But what did that feel like in relation to this particular project?
Really, really just wonderful. And I think I'd like to sort of add on to what Phil says. I think as an actor, like, you get these awards, but actually, as Phil was saying, those awards really are a reflection on the full thing. With all due, you're not going to get a Best Actress or Best Actor award on the back of a poor script, without a good director and without an excellent team on stage, because under those circumstances, in a really, really rich, fertile environment, you're going to produce your best work. It's not just about that one person or, whatever. It is about the team. And then if you're working in a really great team where everything feels really good, then you are going to produce your best work. So yeah, it is always reflective, I think, on the full team.
And the biggest challenge of the role for you?
So Mary Ann is kind of trying to hide her insanity, isn't she? So she's willing to go to prison in order to protect Anne. But then she is also mad. So you need to be able to see those glimpses of the insanity come through, but without kind of giving full rein to it until that very final scene.
Sarah, for yourself, a challenging role.
Yeah, Ella's not really. I don't think I'm particularly similar to her, so it was very outside of what I normally play or who I think I am. But it was really fun getting to explore her, and I think it was funny early on in the process. It was sort of trying. I constantly got the note that I needed to be less likable. I needed to be less nice. I was being nice about that, but so it was sort of finding the nasty edge of her, but at the same time, sort of realizing she's someone to be respected because she hasn't got where she is by sitting on the sidelines. And she actually really is somebody, if you were in that hole, if you were up against it in court, you'd want her on your side because she is going to fight tooth and nail. And there's inherently something to respect about that. Even if you don't like her, you respect her. But it was a very special rehearsal process. And I think when it came to the awards and things, even if you're going to a festival and things, you don't do it for the awards. But I think the awards were when you're in that rehearsal process and it feels so special and you really feel like you've got something. It's so nice to come out the other end then and I guess be rewarded with those sort of confirmations that what you felt was real and that other people have felt that and seen that. And so, yeah, it was really lovely.
So, 2 more things, if I may. You, Tony, then start seeing the piece leap off the page, being performed by 3 people, 3 very, very talented people.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
That's always a joy at any time, really, particularly with people like these, because they are so talented. When you write something, obviously you hope it's okay. And then when people of this quality come along and take it off the page and turn those characters into something even better than you thought you had in your head, it is a bit of a joy.
Amazing. Okay, brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure sat with you this evening. I've been John. This has been JTP's podcast. Hopefully we'll do more of these in the future, focusing on other plays, but really lovely spending time with you this evening, and good night.
If you enjoyed our bite-sized offering, we'd love it if you would like, subscribe and leave a review for our podcasts. And if you want to see what else JTP Theatre are up to, you can visit our website jtptheatre.com or look us up on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with more soon.